Good evening.
Good evening. You're Dracula. I'm Reinfeld.
Reinfeld?
Is it Reinfeld or Reinfeld?
Renfield.
Renfield. Thank you. I never know. Would you ever do a comic that comes with like a pronunciation, like a speak and spell?
I would. Yeah, sure, without a doubt.
Would Zenescope?
Reinfeld sounds like Seinfeld.
Missed opportunity, dude. Reinfeld Seinfeld spinoff.
So how was the Paul Green interview?
Dude, Paul Green is a legend. We were just talking to him. First off, he was kind enough to send a bunch of his like sketches and mock-ups. But the thing is, like all of his sketches and mock-ups, even the ones that don't get used, they're still like super high quality pieces. Like you could slap that on a book and still publish it and get it out there.
I love it.
Yeah, the fact that he's doing like as much work and putting in as much effort as he is, and some of that stuff's just like, yeah, we'll use number 3. I don't know. It blows my mind, but he's a monster, man. Especially the fact that 12 like minimum 12 covers for this year's Candy subscription, but put on everything he's doing on top of that. Collectors Club,
and not remixes. A loser among them.
Right, every single one that he puts out is a banger. I can't think of like one bad Paul Green, and I'm still finding newer Paul Greens that I've never seen before. That Van Helsing. I don't know if you saw that we were just selling. That one, first time viewer, first time listener, long time lover. But
Scott wonders when Paul Green will be doing a con in the United States. Unless US means something else, but I think it means United States.
I think so too. Let's play it safe, say that US stands for United States. I don't know. That's not a question that I got to ask. I do know that he's very comfortable over there. And if somebody was like, hey, you can just stay where you are and not have to go anywhere, I'd say, all right, sounds good. Let's just hang out here, nice and cozy.
So probably not.
Probably not, but who's to say? Que sera, sera, man.
How does it feel being the leader of this convention without having Jason around?
Oh, this virtual?
Yeah.
It's all right. I'm a little winded. The dragon costume's hot, but I feel like I needed to wear it. Nobody does it better than Jason, though. The guy makes it look easy. I don't have any sports banter. Yeah.
He's like Jerry Lewis.
Absolutely. He's Jerry Lewis. I'm I don't know.
You're Alan Alda.
Sure. I'll take it.
Anyway. So here we are.
Here we are back again. Thank you for joining us today.
Sure. Anytime.
Mostly. So I went back and I listened to our previous episode to try and get caught up.
Too. I hate my voice. I have a lot of trouble watching old videos of myself because I'm like, wow, Noah's so cool, but oh yeah, Dean Martin probably is a better comp.
I'll take that. I'm not nearly as cool as Dino, though. I feel like Dino's nothing against Jerry Lewis, but Dean Martin's Dean Martin.
I think there was a lesser Rat Packer. Maybe you could be one of them.
The fifth Beatle. But
yeah, I like the stream, Ian. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for being here. But yeah, I watched. I know I'm right there with you. I don't like listening to my voice. I don't go back. Like, I'm sure it would be helpful to see like what I'm doing wrong, or what I'm doing right. But I don't like listening to myself. I thank you for everybody who's listening right now.
But you've watched it enough to be able to catch everyone up on where we are.
Yes, I did. I did go back and listen to it. So I feel like we kind of left it off, and I don't know how far we're supposed to go with this.
Because as far as we want.
Yes, because I feel like we're starting to get into like, okay, like it's taken a little bit, but the fire's roaring now. Like we've got the stuff in there. We're exactly. So now it's really roaring. We're just throwing logs on.
Well, I think we want to, the fact that we have our little intimate setting here to go over the story. I feel like we could take advantage of, everyone out there to help push the story along in whatever particular direction. So on behalf of Mark, we could do a little recap
Yes. So where we left off, I kind of have 3 points. We have a gem, we've got a Rocky, and we've got a big man. The gem is an actual physical gem. Now, I don't think that we've determined what the gem's purpose is. Obviously, the gem has some sort of power.
Well,
But,
one thing I
well,
will say is that we know that the gem is going to be it's part of our universe, part of our when I say universe, I mean like the world of Zenescope, right? So the gem is going to be something. Yeah, I know what you're saying. We don't know exactly what its purpose is, but we're gonna in Robin 100, for example, something that seems like the gem makes an appearance. We'll just leave it at that.
I am very excited because I don't know what's going to happen in Robin Hood 100, but I saw the crossover covers, the connecting set, and in the third one, on the third zero, she's got all of these like sigils all over her. She's floating. She's got this crazy magic stuff happening in the background. So, does it have something? Can you say that has to do with that?
I can say that it might have something to do with that.
Ugh! Stay tuned. Robin 100 coming to a comic book store near you. So yes, I think the gem, how we left it, was a combination of the Monolith from 2001 Space Odyssey, but also Michigan J. Frog from the Looney Tunes.
Right. Michigan J. Frog, yes. Okay.
So in the Monolith, the gem has an influencing power. It has its own, not necessarily like its own motive, like its own thing that it's intended to do and will do, but it's not like it's trying to do it. It just is. It is that gem, and this is what the gem does. However, the gem reacts differently to different people, a la Michigan J. Frog. So the 2 other bullet points that I think we were touching on was that there's 2 big players in regards to the gem. There is an original user, possibly somebody that found it, discovered it, is aware of it, and is able to use it for, their intentions, their ideas. And then there is a Rocky character, kind of the, not necessarily a bum, but maybe doing
Rocky
something.
/ Samuel Jackson from Pulp Fiction.
Yes, he is just a guy. I'm glad that you brought that part back up because that's a good.
I brought that part back up because I was thinking about it. So once you're done with your recap, I could go into a little bit of what I was thinking about.
All right, yeah, please. So just to round down the recap, we were saying that, an enforcer. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark. So the idea would be that the big man, the dude in charge of the stone who initially finds it and is using the power, isn't getting its full potential. But when this Rocky-based character, this kind of underling, the enforcer, Samuel L. Jackson, carrying out the tasks on behalf of the big man,
I'm not sure if those 2 guys need to be connected prior to the story.
Okay, yeah.
Later, but I don't think he's an underling of the guy that's got the gem. I think he is an underling who ends up maybe in this other world. I don't think he needs to be involved with that person prior to the story.
Gotcha. So not like a manager and an employee, but more so just by proximity kind of thing.
One is a manager and one is an employee, but they're not connected to each other.
Gotcha. So I think that's pretty much the recap. I think that's where we left it off. I feel like that's a good position to be like, all right, where do we go with the gem? Where do we go with Rocky?
Let me talk about some of the things I liked about some of the stuff that you were pitching, or one thing in particular. When you were talking about the, even though you didn't bring this up in the recap, but I remember talking about the preacher kind of guy. I was thinking of I forgot what I was watching. I was watching something about some like cult leader. I don't remember, a real cult leader, right? Who maybe you know, because I know you're like an aficionado of all things cult related.
I do like my cults.
I think he was a guy who ended up like in the one that killed all the people in Mount Carmel, aka Waco, Texas.
Okay.
I think that guy, or maybe it's Heaven's Gate. I don't know. One of them. Maybe that guy started in San Francisco, or somehow like moved to San Francisco and like was like sort of this not really a street preacher. I guess he started as I think maybe it was David Koresh. I think he started as like a street preacher and then ended up having this sort of like this like storefront in San Francisco where like people would just sort of start joining him. And so I was thinking like when you were talking about that idea of like the whole light, like someone basically has the gem and is doing stuff with it. And so it's this David Koresh like guy. Like David Koresh when he was back then didn't have like the ultimate David Koresh agenda, I don't think. I mean, he might have, but who knows. But so he was just sort of doing like, preachy kind of stuff. So he's got this gem, so that kind of makes him legitimate, right? I mean, because like if I could like lay my hand on you and like some glow happens and you could see, then obviously people would kind of flock to you. So he's got ability. And then something would happen and he would lose it. So he would lose that ability, but somehow he ends up being aware of who ends up with it. And the person who ends up with it is this other guy, this Rocky. So and Rocky is morally ambiguous, I guess. I don't think he'd mind doing the right thing. He's just doing the easy thing, and ends up like just with this thing, and this thing ends up working for him. Maybe like the David Koresh guy couldn't really do much with it. It just like minor miracles. Like maybe you're blind and like it allows you to hear better. Like maybe it doesn't quite.
It's like, I can't walk, but boy, my taste buds are superior.
Right, your arms are stronger, so you can push your wheelchair better. Yeah, unprincipled is a way to put it, but he no, I mean he's got some principles. Anyway, so he gets this thing, and then somehow this David Koresh guy kind of gets in his ear, and like kind of takes him under his wing, and then maybe he becomes his enforcer or something. I don't really know much beyond that, but that's sort of like the way I was kind of rolling with it, like to think about combining the two stories that way. So basically he starts getting a Han Solo type. No, Han Solo is in the D&D, again, talking about it, because I know I brought that up last time too. Han Solo to me is like chaotic good. Like he doesn't actually do anything bad. This guy, I mean, if someone asks him to kill somebody, he'll probably kill somebody. Like, he may feel bad about it, but he'll do it. So I think it's a different. It wouldn't be like Han Solo. Like his moral compass is a little more screwed up than that.
So I'd be interested to know, like, when you're typically in this, in the writer's room, in the character creation process, once you hit this point, where do you typically, like, is there a direct path that you typically follow? Or do you say, like, because for me, I'm interested, like, I want to know what it is about this Rocky guy that is, motivating him. Like, what is it that has got his...
Now is a great time to think about something like that, because if you think about like what motivates a character, then you could know like, oh no, they wouldn't do that, right? So like all the little bits that I've said so far, right, is based on nothing. Like he could have easily been a Han Solo character, but I know in my head I already thought about him as a little more morally ambiguous than that, right? Like I guess for some reason I'm thinking of like Godfather kind of bad guys. Like they have their code, but
right.
But they're totally willing to do shitty things, but at the same time excuse my language, they're totally willing to do messed up things. But
and I would say with Han Solo, like Han Solo, if he shoots Greedo, he shoots whatever, when that gets down to it, it's him or me, that type of mentality. Like, I don't know if Han Solo necessarily feels guilty about shooting Greedo.
Absolutely. Here's the thing. I would think, like I think I said last time, the gem is chaotic neutral. I think our guy is lawful neutral, because I think our guy follows rules. It's just who's telling him the rules is what counts, So he's not. So he will do bad things if they're the right thing according to his his culture. So lawful neutral, if we're to put everybody in those terms.
No, those are great terms. The fact that you can break it down, for the most part, into like a 3x3. Like, okay, you've got your good, your neutral, your bad. You've got your,
Say you're Vito Corleone back in the 1930s or whatever, Little Italy. Like he's doing what he feels like he's supposed to do.
Yeah, he's like, I have to make it here in America. I have. But
he's religious, and he's like, he thinks he's doing stuff that's for the religion. Like his whole family is religious and does religious stuff. So I kind of feel like he's like that. Although I wouldn't even think he's that religious particularly. But probably I think that like a whole bunch of people in our generation, there's people who are. Oh, Dave is talking to me. Let's see if Dave is telling me something about this. Maybe he's got something to say.
He's like, you guys are ruining. You just spoiled the whole second half.
Oh, no. He just said thank you. Oh, well. Because I'm going over his script. Anyway, so see, I just totally messed up my train of thought by looking at Dave's thing.
Yeah. So we were talking about religion, Vito Corleone.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Rules.
So I was saying people of our generation in the grand scheme of things. I think people who are post baby boomers, since you and I are not even part of the same generation, I don't think. But I think we're all part of the generation where our parents, often grew up in more religious households, whereas we didn't. Maybe you did, but I didn't. So I know because of that, like there's people who have sort of a basic idea. Yeah, see, Mark and I are both Generation X. People have a basic idea of like, what the morals are based on the religion that they grew up in, but they don't really sort of follow it too much. But they still know what's wrong, So I feel like this guy would be more like Rocky. I mean, when he encounters this David Koresh guy, like there's something interesting about what he's saying, like he doesn't just blow it off like I might.
Now, do you think it's David Koresh with the stone, like his kind of like what he's doing with these like pseudo miracles, or do you think it's more like, okay, no, this guy has something to say, or I'm interested. I agree with what he's saying. This guy's got good opinions. I'm going to follow this dude because of
David Koresh had the stone, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a very weird analogy, but I guess it's not very weird. It's kind of weird. My dad was not a very religious person, but as he got later in life, he got into some weird stuff, and one of the things he got into was there was some guy, like, we grew up in New York. There was some guy, I don't remember where he was, somewhere around New York. His name was Father DiOrio. And my dad and his sister would like always talk about this guy, Father DiOrio, who like did miracles. And I don't know if he went to visit him or what. I just remember he suddenly got obsessed with this guy, Father DiOrio, who did miracles, right? So the reason I bring that up is because I think of this guy. This David Koresh guy did do miracles, right? So if you talk to any of his followers, they've seen his miracles, right? Like shining my light on you and you're able to smell better or whatever it was. But he's not doing miracles anymore because our guy's got the gem. So going back to what you're saying, so he doesn't really have power anymore. That's why he wants to manipulate our guy. But there's enough of the past miracles to make it seem like this guy is telling the truth.
So maybe it's something where it's like once this guy is introduced once Rocky comes into the picture. Like the stone, even for say what are we calling him? David Feich? The cult guy, David Koresh. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to remember our code names for everybody.
David Koresh is a real person.
Well, right, but we're not writing a story unless can we do David Koresh for real in the comic?
We could if we chose to, but I don't know if there'd be upside for it.
Historical fiction.
Historical fiction has a place. Maybe they could go kill Hitler.
Fun. But so would the stone cease to work? So as soon as Rocky,
right, H.H. Holmes was a hit.
That's true. Actually, there were I was topic of conversation for another time, but I have been finding some like crazy like real stories about dudes that have like kidnappers and cannibals and stuff, where it's like, yo, these guys were real, and that's the scariest part of it all.
You know what's interesting about that is we have a Tales of Terror Halloween story that we're working on. I don't know. We just solicited it, but it has there's a whole theme around those kind of serial killers. So if there's ever a time that you could pitch the idea of including some of these guys that you found in it, this is the time.
Okay, I am absolutely going to send you my link.
The time. It might be too late now, but no, it's not. I'm just kidding. Yeah, you could still do it.
Well, because there was a I don't know if you've ever read them, but there's those series of books like Weird New Jersey and Weird Pennsylvania and stuff like that.
I think Dave read a lot of those.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of weird, creepy, spooky stuff in Pennsylvania, including like some
killer in Pennsylvania.
I don't think so. There was a guy, like, it was an early case of like undocumented like schizophrenia, where this guy had kidnapped a girl, and it wasn't like a malicious or anything. I think it was just kind of like, I don't know. She wasn't harmed. She wasn't hurt. The cops killed him. But I don't know. Tons of weird stuff like that. I don't want to get us off track.
I think that everything's on track. Do you know, I once went to when I was a kid, when I was like 9 years old, I went to maybe even younger. I went to the Haunted Mansion, or I don't know, it's probably not there anymore. There was a Haunted Mansion in Long Branch, New Jersey. And I was really young, and it was like one of those haunted houses. I mean, they advertised it on TV, and it was like one of those things where people like walk up to you and do stuff to you. And Lizzie Borden, this woman had like a blood all over her, like this blonde wig, and like took an axe and put it like right up to my neck, and I got so scared. It like totally traumatized me. Thank you.
Thank you, Lizzie Borden cosplayer from New Jersey. No,
so
that is.
And I always like some of my favorite horror movies. I wish Amber was here because I could talk to her about horror movies where people go into like a haunted house or something, and there's real like killers inside of it, or like fun houses. And I forgot that there's a movie like that. But anyway, now I totally digressed. So
no, I was just watching something the other day where I was thinking like, man, it would be really easy to kill somebody if you were to dress up. Like, hey, look at me, I'm a wacky clown inside a haunted house. This axe is definitely fake.
FBI, there's 25 to 50 active serial killers at all times in the United States. And I know that what was his name? The guy that is it Malcolm Gladwell? No, who was the guy that did the Billy Bean story? Was like that movie, the Hardball, whatever was that? Is that what it was called? The guy who did all the mathematics stuff.
Moneyball.
Yeah, the guy who did the mathematics stuff in baseball. I forgot his name. Yeah, I know Moneyball's, but that guy who did Bill James did a Michael Lewis wrote the book, but Bill James is the one who created the concept. Wrote a book on a serial killer from like the 1900s who like no one really knows this. Like he pieced together the fact the serial killer must have killed like hundreds of people, but it was before like any sort of forensics happened. So he was just able to, like, he had the same MO, like going from state to state and just killed like a whole bunch of people. He's probably the biggest killer of all time, but people don't really just know about him because he killed like at a time when people just weren't aware of serial killers. Anyway, I digressed again, but this is all stuff interesting, that could lead to stories. So it's worthwhile to talk about.
All right. Once I find I don't know. There were a lot. I fell down a rabbit hole the other day,
Paul
unfortunately.
Green is the comic serial killer. I agree with that sentiment.
For the listeners at home, cereal with a Cereal.
Oh, for the people who are listening to this on radio?
Yeah.
Oh,
You're listening to Zen AM. AM quality content in the AM afternoon. Zen AM.
all right. So I guess we should get back on track. So I guess this is on track.
You just said everything's on track.
That's right. Everything is on track.
Nothing's off topic.
But I do think that your question before, this is the time to come up with what is his motivation, is just throwing. I'm not saying this is it, but like is his mother sick? Is he doing it for the money? Does he have a kid? Is he trying to impress a girl? Like whatever it is, all those things will guide him organically on the path that we choose to put him on. So I thought my cat was over there, but he's not.
Yeah, I definitely feel like, and Dave, when we had emailed him earlier, kind of had some ideas about him maybe having like a daughter or like a family member or something. But I definitely feel like family in any position, like, I don't know, like I'll do whatever for the family, even going back to Godfather, he was like, oh, this is for the family. This is for the family. Even though obviously it might bend morals, like, yeah, I just killed all these people in, cold blood while I was, baptizing my, nephew or whatever.
Yeah, and then Mark's question, I don't think he knows how to use the gem. I think he uses it. It kind of works for him just because of their connection, but he doesn't know how to use it. So I think probably the David Koresh guy will become his mentor. His mentor has bad intentions. He'd help him learn how to use it.
So I'm kind of like I guess what I'm picturing is that, there's this David Koresh dude performing miracles. Our Rocky character is, potentially susceptible. I guess we got to look at like what makes a good cult leader, or, like what makes a good cult follower. Normally it's something like, you're missing something from your life, or you're looking to make sense of something. And that.
But I think it's a little different with him. Yeah. I think in general what you're saying is true, but we don't normally have cult leaders who maybe on YouTube you've seen him do a miracle. Like that's the difference. Like if I follow David Koresh, who's telling me that he's the son of God or whatever, and he could do like amazing things, I don't believe it until. But this guy, I might have seen him do it on TikTok. I've seen him actually perform a miracle. So say Rocky is a skeptic. Because I want to be religious and I just can't because I just don't believe it. This guy's actually doing something that shows me that it's real, so maybe because of that, I would follow him. So it might be less about his charisma and more just about he seems to talk the talk and walk the walk. There could be a price to use the gem. It could be a problem for the David Koresh guy, because maybe the more you use it, the more you're connected to it. I mean, I guess we'll have to figure out why it left David Koresh in the first place.
Right.
If he just.
But it's not just that it left David Koresh, but that it's more powerful in the hands of Rocky, or it gets some sort of different reaction.
Yeah.
So at that point, would David Koresh be like, obviously still wanting to use the gem to whatever benefit he's getting. But now he just has to work through Rocky. So Rocky is kind of acting as the middleman, where it's like, I still want to do what I want to do with the gem, but now I have to kind of build you up, in order for me to get what I want through the gem. Like I have to kind of mold you, make you into, or I guess like at this point is David Koresh like, hey, I'm the son of God, you're God's nephew, like you are now part of this, however David Koresh explains the gem and explains his, religion, his path or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, he
and I think that maybe there's like I guess a finite amount of times to use it isn't exactly, it's a price, but it's not that bad of a price. So it must need to do something worse too.
Because then the other thing too is maybe David Koresh is using Rocky to avoid paying the price himself. Like if there is a price to the stone, like, you know,
like it kills you.
Yeah, like it kills you, like it makes your teeth fall out, like it gives you gout, you know, something. He's like, oh man,
makes you hungry.
It makes you really hungry. It's like, dude, I don't want to be peckish all the time. So I'm
gonna maybe it kills you.
Yeah. And so he's like, all right, you know what? And maybe that's the thing, is maybe he's just going through people left and right. Like he's like, I don't know, just throwing it out there, but maybe it's just like, have there been Rockies before Rocky? Like, have there been other people that have been attracted to the gem that this guy's kind of like let the gem chew up and spit out? But because he's not directly working with the gem, he's kind of like, you know, hey, you know, I'm using oven mitts. I'm using human oven mitts to take this freaking quiche out of the oven.
Or it could even be that he's able to use it indirectly through that other person, maybe. So maybe he never used it himself. He's just been like working through other people and like doing these miracles. Like maybe he's able to do these minor miracles with it, just when he's in proximity of the person who's able to use it. That's a possibility.
So before I always hate that. Like, I feel like we got to do like an hour-long episode of these. Like, maybe we talk to Joe and see like if we can do a MasterClass marathon or something. Because we're running out of time towards the end of the stream. So we got to go do a recap. But again, I feel like we're just getting into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah. I think it's moving in a good direction.
I know. I'm super excited. I want to keep talking about it.
And I like the suggestions. It could build up over time and start to cause negative events.
Yeah. And so I guess we got to figure out, like, I guess, what are David Koresh's motivations, maybe pre-stone and post-stone. Let
me write down some notes here.
Okay. So we got to
watch the video again.
and I feel like we gotta come up with new code names instead of Rocky, David Koresh, and Michigan J Frog.
Okay.
Although I do love those as code names.
No, I don't. I think it's fine to use them for now.
Okay.
Even though if you keep using them, then you'll end up making that their names.
Yeah. Daniel Koresh.
Okay.
Power ? Mark is asking. Mark the question mark.
Need to figure out that too. What exactly does this thing do?
And that's where I'm like, because I don't want to. Whatever happens in Robin Hood 100, whatever happens with the stones in the Grimm universe, like I don't want to spoil that.
It's more connecting the origins. It's less in the moment and more in the past. So don't worry about. We're not doing anything that messes with that.
Okay, cool. Because I do think, like kind of like what Mark is saying. I think once we nail down that power, then the rest of that stuff might kind of fall into place. As in, what is David? Or what is Koresh's, motivation pre and post stone introduction? What is it that prevents, or what is he having these people do with the stone? And what is it that inevitably turns Rocky against David Koresh? Because there has to be a breaking point where he's like, whoa, hold on a second. This isn't what I signed up for. Like either he has the realization like, hey, man, I've been using that stone a lot and my arms are starting to look like skeletons. I don't know if that's, hey, don't worry about it. It's fine.
And my breath is really bad.
My breath is bad. My arms look like skeletons. And I don't know. Every time I close my eyes, I hear this backwards talking demonic voice, but might just be allergy season. Who can say? So yeah, I think I think we've got like our three pillars in terms of like Rocky, David Koresh, Michigan J Frog. And now we just
And tell Mark we that's our point number one was what are David Koresh's motivations pre-stone and post-stone. So we got that in there. His reason for being a cult leader.
Yes.
I'm gonna add that to the note.
Reason for being the cult leader. But I like what you're saying about, like, you know, this guy, this Rocky dude wanting to have that religious, you know, like for me, I would love, like, some of my more religious friends, I'll be honest, I envy, because I'm like, dude, like, you got it all figured out, you know, like they are so cool and so chill just because they are, like, you know, they know what's going on, I guess. Exactly. And faith goes a long way. I mean, think about friggin' Superman, think about Green Lantern's power, man. Hope, faith, you know, it's a great, you know, force of nature. So yeah, whenever anybody has that, you know, solidified, like, they're definitely like, whoa, hell yeah. So, you know, I can see how Rocky would be like, yo, I want that. I want to have that, you know, that security, that sense, that whatever.
Yeah, and you're willing to because he showed that he actually could do something.
Yeah, it's like, holy shit, this is it. You know, it's not just a bunch of old books. You know,
and
this guy's,
he knows, like the David Koresh is the guy that's making him able to activate the power too. So he doesn't even know that he could use it without David Koresh. Maybe.
I like that too. Like, yo, like he's dependent on David. Like, without, like, it's, you know, it's our connection or whatever. It's my connection with David. It's my, not just me and the stone. It's me, the stone, and David.
And yes, maybe David Koresh does help Rocky cure someone.
Yeah. Like, maybe he's got a friend or a family or something, like somebody's sick.
You've got a friend.
It's a slow, sad Randy Newman in the background during the transformation sequence or something.
That would be nice.
For the inevitable movie adaptation, of course.
Written by everyone in this room.
Yeah, you get a credit. You get a credit. You get a credit. All right. Well, unfortunately, David, not Koresh, but G. Wohl. That is where we're going to have to draw the line for today.
Cool. Good luck with the rest of the convention.
Thank you very much. And I hope you have a wonderful and enjoyable weekend.
And you as well. And thanks to everybody.
Thank you to everybody in the comments section. Thank you to you for joining us, of course.
And thank you to you for hosting.
Shucks. Thank you for being. All right. Thanks you, David. I love our conversations. I wish we could have them more, and I wish we could have them for longer. But until next time, I will pitch to Joe an hour-long masterclass of some sort. So we can,
cool.
I want to buff it out. I want to get there. I want to get the gold. Pay dirt, baby.
Move and shake.
Right. Yeah. All right. Talk to you later, David. See ya.